This is instruction, not entertainment, and I am speaking to a student, not to a casual passerby. If you are here to collect words or to add to your storehouse of quotations, I must ask you to leave them on the shelf and come with empty hands. We are beginning a work that, if misunderstood, will do you no good at all, and may harden you into the very bondage we seek to dissolve. I must ask you, do not pass on what you hear until you have lived it, until it has been constituted in you, until the sense of it moves from your lips to your very breath. Not because there is some secret to hoard, but because misapplied truth turns into willpower and denial. And willpower and denial are the old warfare dressed in Sunday clothes. Now then, before we make a single move, let me warn you quietly. Do not make the body your God. Do not bow before its alarms, and do not draw your sword against them. Put up thy sword. You are not to fight sensation. You are not to worship sensation. In this modern speech, we have made a religion out of my nervous system. We speak of it as master, as prophet. It says I cannot. It tells me I am unsafe. It warns me of doom. No, hear me. What the body signals is a claim, an appearance that asks for recognition, not obedience. An announcement looking for a throne. A claim can be felt without being believed. An appearance can pass through without taking possession. I know the habit. The moment the heart races or the breath tightens, the mind rushes to bow or to battle. Either we collapse into fear, or we marshal affirmations like spears and hurl them at the body. Do you see that both are the same idolatry? In one case, you grant the alarm divinity and kneel. In the other, you grant it power and fight. We will do neither. Be still and know I am God. Not be still in order to force the pulse to slow. Not be still as a technique to command the breath. Be still because stillness reveals government, another order, another center, the I within that neither trembles nor contends. I must set the ethic at the door. There is to be no aggression in this way. We do not use truth as a weapon against our own flesh. We do not shout scripture at a nerve. We do not bargain with peace. We stand down. We let the sword fall to our side, and we assume our rightful place, not as captives of sensation and not as its adversaries, but as witnesses of I. And in this witnessing, the body learns. Yes, it learns. It discovers by experience that sensation is not sovereignty. It discovers that alarms are claims without authority in the presence of I. So our promise here is simple and exacting. Not to fix the body by effort, but to be still and watch. To watch the body find its quiet under a higher government. Be still and know I am God. This is our beginning, our warning, and our safety. Do not hurry. Do not repeat this beyond your own walls until it has taken root. And do not, above all, make the body your God. Now then, let us be exact with our words. When I say claim, I am not speaking of an imagination floating in the clouds. I am speaking of the very thing you have felt at 2 a.m. when a nervous system flare shoots through the chest, when a symptom writes a story across the mind, when a panic wave rises and says, "This is law, this is fate, this governs you." That, to us, is a claim, an appearance that presents itself as authority, a notice nailed to the door demanding tribute. It feels like power because it shouts and it shakes, but shouting and shaking are not sovereignty. A claim can be felt without being believed. Sensation is not sovereignty. Do not mistake me. There is no denial here. We do not pretend the alarm is not heard. We do not chant ourselves deaf. We acknowledge sensation precisely. Yes, the breath tightens. Yes, the heart pounds. Yes, the skin grows warm and the mind presents a film of danger. All right, feel is feel. But authority is another matter. We refuse the conclusion that sensation is power, cause, or identity. The feeling is a report. It is not a ruler. The tremor is a weather pattern. It is not the climate of your being. Now let me trace for you, slowly, the common loop that binds so many. The body signals, perhaps a jolt in the belly. The mind names it. Danger. Attack. Something wrong with me. The body, hearing that name, amplifies to prove the name true. The person, seeing the amplification, identifies. I am this panic. I am this fragility. I am this story. And each turn of the loop tightens the conviction that a claim is a command. Do you see that identification is the fuel? If the alarm is not taken into I am, it starves. If the name is not granted residence in identity, it wanders without a throne. Here is where dominion enters. Not the dominion of personality, not bravado, but the quiet fact. All power is in the I that I am, and no power is in form or effect. No power in a sensation, however loud. No power in a chemical, however complex. No power in a diagnosis, however authoritative its font. No power in a history, however long rehearsed. If you grant power to the form, you bind yourself to it. If you rest as I, you witness form as appearance and appearance as claim, and the necessity for struggle is removed. Be still and know I am God. You, of course, cannot use it as a talisman against your pulse. You must let it relocate authority. Therefore, if the alarm is not authority, your task is not to calm down. That would keep you wrestling within the claim. Your task is to return to I and let the alarm be re-educated in the presence that neither fears nor fights it. We will not drive the sea back with a broom. We will stand at center until the tide finds its level. Several times each day you will pause, not to argue with sensation, not to negotiate, but to withhold identity from it. Be still and know I am God. In that stillness, the claim is met by government. The body, hearing another voice, begins to learn. And when it learns, it quiets. Not because you conquered it, but because it discovered its rightful place under the I's authority. For this work, you must assume, deliberately, that there are two of you. Not two beings in competition, not a split to be healed, but 2 points of reference. There is the personal self, the one with the baptismal name, the dates, the history, the talents and the temperaments, and the storehouse of memories. And there is the I, the inner governor, the presence that does not tremble, the life of the person without being bound to the person's reports. For the purpose of this instruction, you will not confuse the two. You will let the person be seen, and you will let the I be the seer. Now then, this is not philosophy. It is practical safety. If you are only the person, every message of the body is a verdict upon you. A flutter in the chest becomes my danger. A tightening of breath becomes my doom, and the mind, faithful to its assignment, runs to either worship the alarm or to wage war with it. But if you abide as I, you are not inside the report. You are beholding it. You are the one to whom the report is brought. And isn't that different? The body, then, is not your commander. It is your student. The nervous system, then, is not your master. It is a petitioner at your gate. Be still and know I am God. Not a sentence to hurl at a symptom, a seat you take, the seat of government. Please hear this carefully. I do not ask you to destroy the person. I am not calling for a holy violence against your history. Put up thy sword. The person has its lovely uses: signing the check, answering the phone, minding the stove. But the person is not to be the doer or the decider in the hour of alarm. In that hour, the person steps back. I steps forward. Not the I of thinking, the I which I am. Not the idea of God entertained by mind. The life of God as your very being, which neither argues nor approves nor fears. Thinking about God is still the person at work. Abiding as presence is the I in its own place. At first, you may feel as if you are pretending. Good. Let the person think it is pretending. That is the person's last attempt to stay in the lead. You will simply continue assuming two of you until the inner fact roots itself and the pretense drops because it was never you. And as this becomes natural, you will discover a quiet relocation. The alarm arises, the person notices, but you, abiding as I, do not move. You remain the beholder. The report speaks. I does not answer to it. The body waits for orders. I does not issue commands. Be still and know I am God is enough, because in that stillness, authority returns to its owner. So, we set the aim before we begin the mechanics. To stand at center as I, and to let the body come under that government by your non-reactive witnessing. You are not to live inside the tremor. You are to behold it. You are not to chase the breath. You are to abide as the life that breathes the breath. From this posture, the practice will make sense, and the body will begin to learn what you know. That sensation is not sovereignty, that a claim is not a command, and that the I you are is the quiet law of your being. Be still and know I am God. Now then, before we touch a single technique, I must ask you to accept this. Non-aggression is the first healing. Put up thy sword. Any attempt to overpower the nervous system is still fear dressed as control. You may not call it fear. You may call it managing. You may call it self-care. You may call it biohacking. But when the person leans forward to subdue sensation, the person confesses faith in sensation. And that is idolatry. The body learns peace only when you stop attacking it, outwardly or inwardly. If you press upon it with your will, you make the claim king. If you withdraw the pressure and stand as I, you unseat it without a fight. I must expose a subtle ambition that ruins many good beginnings. To use meditation in order to get rid of symptoms is to keep symptoms on the throne. To say, I will be still so that this tightness will leave, is to crown the tightness and demote the presence. We do not use God for a purpose. We do not bargain with peace. The moment you make relief your objective, you have already contracted into the person, and you will begin to monitor, to measure, to negotiate. Is it better yet? Has the pulse changed? Did that breath fix it? That is not stillness. That is commerce. Be still and know I am God is not a lever. It is the recognition of government. Replace fixing with yielding. Yield to the government of I. Let the person step back, not with a flourish, not with drama, but with obedience. I am not the doer here. I am the beholder. The body is not to be forced into quiet. It is to be received into quiet. When you inwardly say, "Be still," you are not issuing an order as a sergeant to a recruit. You are announcing a sanctuary, opening a gate, making the body receptive to what you are not voicing but are. The difference is life and death to this work. A command keeps you in combat. A yielded bidding reveals that you are already under a higher law. Let me name the common missteps so that you recognize the sword when it slips back into your hand. Breath as battle. Counting in order to conquer. Pushing the exhale as if squeezing a stubborn door. Each effort informs the body that danger persists and that you, the person, must win. Affirmations as arguments. I am calm. I am safe. I am fine. Hammered against the ribs, each blow confesses that you do not believe it and must shout it down. Scanning as suspicion. Sweeping the body to find what is wrong. Each pass trains the nerves that you are on patrol in hostile territory. All of this is subtle aggression. All of this strengthens the claim by treating it as authority. Your vow, then, is gentleness. Put up thy sword, not once, but every time the hand reaches for it. If the alarm quickens, do not set to work upon it. Set yourself aside. Sit or stand as you are, let the jaw soften, let the hands open as if you had been carrying weights you no longer need to carry, and let the breath breathe itself. Within, not as a talisman but as a recognition, let the word announce itself. Be still and know I am God. Do not watch the clock. Do not take the pulse. Do not peer into the chest. Withhold your consent to manage. 10 seconds of yielding is worth an hour of struggle. When this ethic is established, even imperfectly, even with stumbles, then, and only then, can the practice of stillness be safe and fruitful. Without it, any method is only the old warfare in a new uniform. The government of I does not enter by force. It is not imposed. It is received. And as you receive it, the body, like a cautious child, comes closer, hears another tone, and begins to learn. We will proceed to the steps of stillness, but carry this seal at the door. No more war with your own flesh. Put up thy sword. Be still and know I am God. Now then, sit without hurry. Do not arrange a special posture as if arrangement could save you. Sit as you are, or stand if you must, but refuse strain. We are not chasing a trance. We are making the body receptive. 5 minutes done rightly is a seed that breaks stone. 50 minutes done anxiously is only more stone. Be willing to be ordinary, to be here, and within, let the word come, not as a tool, but as recognition. Be still and know I am God. For this practice you will assume, again, that there are two of you. I am up here at the crown, not above in space, but above in authority, seated as beholder. I look down within, as if the head were open to my gaze, and I am presence witnessing a mechanism. I do not push, I do not fix. I address with a yielded bidding. Begin in the head. As if seated just at the crown, look down through the brain, as if it were a clear chamber. Over the thoughts that hurry and the little electric flickers that pretend to be power, let the inner voice say, gently, be still, be still. Do not check for compliance. Do not test for silence. Just bid and remain. Now let the gaze move. Eyes, sockets, the delicate muscles around them. The jaw with its old labors. The tongue and throat where speech and swallow dwell. Be still. Be still. Let the jaw loosen of its own accord if it will, but do not arrange. Let the throat be a corridor, not a gate. Down through the shoulders, right and left, and all the way through both arms to the wrists, palms, fingers. As if each arm were hollow and you could see the length of it from within. Be still. Be still. Not as a sergeant to a recruit, as sanctuary to a guest. Return to the chest. The heart with its faithful beat, the ribbed room of breath, the diaphragm that bows and rises. Be still. And now at the solar plexus, where alarms often collect their evidence, do not argue, do not bargain. Simply abide and let the fuller word sound. Be still and know I am God. Leave it there. No measurement, no negotiation. Let the address continue. The abdomen, the soft working of digestion. The pelvis, the bowl that carries you. Be still. Be still. The spine and back, between the shoulders, down each vertebra, into the sacrum. Be still. Be still. As if a quiet hand had been laid along the length without weight. Down through the hips, into the legs, thighs, knees, calves. Look right down inside of your legs as if they were hollow and clear to your sight. Be still. Be still. Through the ankles, into the feet, arches, heels, the pads beneath the toes, and each toe in turn. Be still. Now watch. Not for results, not for signs to prove your innocence or your skill. Watch for the change in you, from managing to being governed. There will be a felt easing where the person was pressing, and a quiet taking over where I is present. If you begin to check the pulse of the work, you have slipped back into the person. Return to I and bid again. Be still. Rest here a moment without language. Let the body be quieted without force, as a child soothed by a presence that does not demand. Stillness is not a technique to control the body. It is the way the body becomes receptive to I's government. Remain a little while as beholder. Let the mechanism learn by exposure to presence, and when you rise, do not snatch at the door. Rise as you have sat, without hurry, and carry the residue of stillness with you, as if a law has been re-established and needs no witness but itself. Be still, and know I am God. Now then, I must prepare you for the ordinary holiness of the day, because it is there, not on the cushion only, that this government is proved. The claim will return at 11, at 2, at 4:30, perhaps a wave of tightness as you stand from the desk, a quickening of the heart as you read an email, a gray fatigue settling over the shoulders as if night had arrived early. Do not make a drama of it, and do not make a doctrine of failure from it. The sea has tides, so too sensation has rhythms. The return of a wave is not the loss of the ocean. A returned claim is not authority. It is another chance for the body to learn. Put up thy sword. Be still, and know I am God. Here is your daily work, and I must ask you to do it not less than several times each day, whether there is a claim or not, and immediately when there is. Stop for 1 to 3 minutes. No more is needed, and no less will do. Stop in the hallway, in the car seat before you turn the key, at the kitchen counter with your hands upon it. Do not arrange a ceremony, arrange obedience. First, relocate identity. Before you speak to the body, return to I. Not the I that looks out, but the I that is. Let the sense arise, even faintly, that you are seated as beholder and not rushing as person. If you cannot yet feel it, wait without hurrying, as one who knows the chair is under them even when the lights are low. Then, and only then, from I to the mechanism, let the inner word sound. Be still. Be still and know I am God. Do not negotiate with the symptom. Do not say, if you quiet, then I will trust. That is bargaining, and it keeps the claim enthroned. Do not address the body from panic. If panic is present, let your first act be to withdraw your consent to be the one who is panicking. That is not denial. That is relocation. Once you are even slightly seated, you may bid, gently, without force, as sanctuary to a guest. Be still. Be still. And now watch, not as a monitor of success, but as a witness to government. Watch how quickly the nerves soften when they are not being interpreted as danger. A door inside the throat unclasps. The diaphragm ceases to be a shield and becomes a bellows. The heart's pound ceases to be a hammer and returns to be a drum keeping time. Sometimes this shift is obvious. Sometimes it is a mere lessening of insistence. Take either without comment. Your watching is the lesson. Sensation is not a command. Hold the training picture firmly. The body is a child carried into a quiet room. It does not learn by punishment or lecture. It learns by repetition under calm authority. A minute here, 2 minutes there, 5 times, 8 times, 10 times a day. Each brief return to I is another day at school for the nerves. We do not shout the alphabet at a child. We sing it, again and again, until the song sings itself. So with you. In time, and I do not mean long, I mean faithful, you will notice that the inner word precedes your choice. Instead of you addressing, you will feel yourself being addressed. A presence rises within and bids your body, your thoughts, your very atmosphere, be still. Fear not. I am. Until then, do the simple thing. Interrupt the old covenant that says, alarm appears, I obey. Replace it with the new, alarm appears, I abide. Several times a day, stop for a minute or 3. Relocate identity. Bid without force. Behold the softening without making it your project. Keep it secret, keep it sacred, and keep it steady. Be still and know I am God. In this way, day by day, you teach the nervous system that sensation is not a command, and you reconstitute life under the government of I. Now then, there comes a turning that cannot be forced and must not be dramatized. At first, this work is undeniably mechanical. You sit, you assume the two of you. You take your place as beholder, and you address the mechanism. Head, throat, chest, spine, legs. Be still. At first, it is your word meeting your body. Your bidding laid like a quiet hand upon the nerves. You do it faithfully, even when it seems wooden, because obedience precedes ease. But if you do not quit, if you refuse aggression and keep to the order we have set, there will be a morning or an afternoon in a grocery line when you discover the instruction has gone ahead of you. Before you can form the phrase forms in you. Before you address, you are addressed. Be still and know I am God arrives as if the room itself had spoken. This is the sign of maturity, Not a halo, not a shiver down the spine, not a flood of sentiment, but the inward benediction that carries its own proof. You will hear, without searching the memory, the living assurance, I am with you. I will never leave you nor forsake you. It is not you quoting, it is you being quoted by presence. It may be so gentle that, had you been waiting for fireworks, you would have missed it entirely. No, there is no spectacle in it. It is plain as bread and as quietly nourishing. And yet, in that ordinary tone, urgency dies. Authority is recognized without argument. The body, hearing that voice that is not a voice, yields without being told to yield. The person, who once did the addressing, finds himself restored to his rightful place. The beholder. Understand me. This is not emotional hype. You are not pumping yourself up with phrases. You are not arranging an atmosphere. If anything, you are surprised by how unremarkable it seems and how completely it governs. One moment there was a ripple in the belly, the hint of a wave gathering. The next moment, without your intervention, the inner word has gone forth, and the wave has no wind. The sensation can be present, yes. For a few breaths the heart may still beat a little quicker. But the throne is empty. The claim enters a courtroom without a judge, without a jury, and without an audience. It speaks to no one, because you are not there to be spoken to. I is there, and where I is, form has no law. Do you see what this means for the daily round? The very same conditions that once triggered rounds of management will find no partner. The email that used to tighten the throat is read inside a hush that is not of your making. The highway merge that once demanded a braced jaw happens in a field of unhurried seeing. The midnight stirring that used to summon you to war is met by a presence that has already said, "Be still," before you are fully awake. In proportion as this becomes natural, you will stop asking, "Is it working?" Because there is no worker left, only the work of I revealing itself as your life. And yet, we are not going to leave this as a pleasant report. We are not building a doctrine. We are building dominion. The proof must show in less fear, less reactivity, a shortening of the interval between alarm and recognition, and an increase of that quiet certainty that says without words, I govern here. Not tomorrow, here. We will take this into demonstration. We will test it upon the small claims first, and we will watch, calmly, steadily, as appearances, once enthroned, lose their office in the presence of I. Be still and know I am God. Now then, we come to the proving ground. It will do you no good to possess the right phrases if you remain bound to the old fears. You may speak, "Be still and know I am God," with a scholar's precision, and still feel the heart race and the jaw brace. Still feel the compulsion to manage and to plead. That is letter. Spirit is when the very impulse to hurry slackens, when the demand to fix loses its bite, when the nervous jab arrives and finds you already seated in I. Do not congratulate yourself for memory. Congratulate yourself for the dissolving of fear and the end of compulsion. That is the only passing grade here. We will not prove this on the largest claims first. We do not hurl a novice pilot across an ocean. We begin where the principle can show itself without spectacle. Take restlessness in the late afternoon. Take the low-grade shoulder tension that has followed you for 10 years. Take the midnight wakefulness that used to send you to war with your pillow. These are your laboratories. Do not announce a project to the body. Simply, as the wave presents, relocate identity. There are two of you, and you abide as I. Put up thy sword. Bid quietly, be still. Do not check the clock. Do not press for a result. And now watch, not the symptom, but the transfer of government. If the restlessness softens to a mere movement noticed within a wider silence, that is demonstration. If the shoulder remains slightly tight, but you are no longer its prisoner, that is demonstration. If sleep does not rush back, but the terror of wakefulness is absent, that is demonstration. Dominion becomes real only through demonstration. Watching claims lose authority in lived experience. Keep the outcome rightly named. We are not collecting trophies of perfect sensation. We are establishing unshakable residence in I. The body's improvement follows as effect, not as prize. The temptation, when a wave subsides, is to whisper, "Good, it worked," as if you had used a wrench on a stubborn bolt. No, that is the person sneaking in to take credit and to keep score. Withdraw the scorekeeper. Let the fact stand. I govern here. The less you reach for a ribbon, the more the mechanism learns peace by exposure. I know the objection. But my nervous system is dysregulated. The clinicians have named it. I am not quarreling with their compassion, but I must not let you enthrone a label. That is another claim. A name is not a law over I. Get thee behind me. The belief that chemistry, history, or circuitry is sovereign. Even if the currents in the chest continue to flutter, the throne can remain empty. Return to I. Bid, be still, not as a club over a diagnosis, but as sanctuary to a petitioner without authority. In time, the petitioner learns the court it appeals to does not exist. Now adopt a simple discipline. Keep a private record, not of symptoms, but of sovereignty. Note, briefly and secretly, the moments you conceded power to appearance, and note the moment you returned. Do not scold. Do not analyze. At 10:15, email tightened the throat. At 10:17, I relocated and bid peace. At 10:19, the compulsion was gone, though the pulse was lively. That is enough. This is not a judge's ledger. It is a witness's journal. Each entry is another day of school for the nerves. And understand, this is not built in a sitting or a weekend. It is built as consciousness. It accrues as you abide and abide again over weeks and months until the inner word gets there first, and you live in the afterglow of its government. In our next step, I will set before you the time-bound rule by which this becomes permanent. For now, begin tiny, prove principle, keep it secret, and be faithful. Be still and know, I am God. Now then, I must lay down the rule that makes this more than a pleasant season and turns it into a life. Do not judge this work for not less than 3 to 4 months. I mean that. Do not hurry the invisible. Do not take its pulse. Do not mark its chart. You will be faithful first and evaluative later. It will take you not less than 3 to 4 months to successfully accomplish this relocation so that it becomes your natural state. In that period, you will accept a simple requirement. Each day, a longer sitting of stillness. 30 to 60 minutes if you can, nearer 60 if you are able. If not, then 30 done rightly without strain is better than 90 done in combat. And, throughout the day, the brief returns we have established. 1 to 3 minutes, several times, whether a claim appears or not. Quality over strain. Non-aggression over ambition. Put up thy sword. Choose a time and guard it. Morning before the world intrudes, or evening when the noise has subtracted itself. Either will do. Both if you are endowed with the grace to do both, but do one without fail. Sit and take your place as beholder. Address the body as we have learned. Then rest, not using God for a purpose, not pushing for a sign. Then go to your day and interrupt it, 5, 6, 8 times, briefly, secretly, with the same yielded bidding. This rhythm, one long, many short, will, over 3 to 4 months, reconstitute your sense of self so that the I which you are is the climate and the person is the weather passing through. I must ask you to keep it secret. Do not perform spirituality. Do not post your minutes like trophies. Do not report your sittings to win approval. Keep the purpose of it secret. If you must speak, speak to the one who has charge over your progress, and speak little. Do not argue with those who prefer their alarms. Do not debate this method. Do not defend it. Truth defended becomes a debating society and loses its weight of sincerity. And please, do not force this upon those you love. Do not turn your home into a clinic. If there is to be interest, your quiet will awaken it better than your lectures. If there is to be teaching, it will not be before you have mastered this in yourself. Guard also against wearing this as a badge. You are not the one who does stillness as an identity. You are not superior because you sit. You are not to count, compare, or collect experiences. We are not trying to perfect a nervous system. We are yielding to the government of I, and the body follows. Let this order be fixed in you. All power is in the I that I am. There is no power in form or effect. As you abide, the mechanism learns peace by exposure, not by management. Make your vow plain. For 90 to 120 days, I will keep the long sitting daily and the short returns hourly, as opportunity allows. I will preserve non-aggression. I will keep it secret. I will not argue. I will not force. Then watch, not the symptom, but the transfer of government. Little by little, the inner word will arrive before your thought. The peace will precede your need, and the body will conform as effect to what is already established as cause. And when the alarm rises, today, tomorrow, whenever it pleases, do not run. Do not bargain. Do not reach for your old instruments. Be still and watch. Relocate identity. Bid without force. Behold without fear. In that beholding the claim, having no audience and no court, dissolves into its native nothingness. Be still and know, I am God. Keep to this for 3 to 4 months without quitting, and you will not have to ask me if it is working. You will live in the afterglow of its government, and the body will quietly, obediently follow.